The Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
Let's preface this video. We're about family. We're family. This movie is in our wheelhouse because it's about family.
And it's fantastic.
I had a great time. I had a great time in this movie. God.
This was another movie we were looking forward to. I think we look forward to all the Fast and Furious movies.
For the same kind of reasons. Because you know
what you're getting.
Yes. You know they're going to be ridiculous. You know there are going to be some lines that I don't think are supposed to be funny.
They're not necessarily good movies.
No.
But they're wildly entertaining.
Oh, you have such a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
I think I went into this with, actually I wasn't like hesitant to go into it. I was actually excited to see where this kind of went, because what they've done with Hobbs and Shaw was they took, in my opinion, the two most charismatic characters from what the Fast and Furious has created. And I think they took Hobbs and Shaw, who I thought were the two most charismatic characters.
You want to repeat it again?
Yeah, they're very charismatic. But they took them and they made their own movie. And so my thinking was...
Not only did they make their own movie, this was... Going to see a Fast and Furious movie, I don't want to say they started to feel repetitive, but you kind of knew this was like... It was new it was new for this universe.
Yes.
And so it felt fresh for this universe.
Well, see, for the universe, I suppose. This is what I was about to get to, is that... So when I went into it, I was wondering how similar of a feel I would get from this movie, because honestly, almost all the Fast and Furious movies that I've seen, all of them, they will have lines that I will laugh at and think are so ridiculous, and I don't think they're supposed to be funny.
They're delivered with such gusto.
Well, it's Vin Diesel being Toretto, and he has to it's so testosterone driven. It's like I'm the man, I'm top dog, and I was like, I wonder how. And I knew
funny
this.
For
I
a
knew
movie
this
franchise based so much around family, but it is when you watch them, you go, it's about his family.
Yes,
he's always on top. He's lead dog.
It's like, oh, I'm top dog, but like this is my family. This is who I'm looking after. And apparently, Vin Diesel and The Rock didn't quite get along. So I think Universal was like, we're gonna have The Rock do his own movie, and he's gonna take Statham. And see, did you know that? Did you hear that story at the end of the 8th one? That there was a post-credit scene setting up Hobbs and Shaw. And Vin Diesel, who's a producer, you've heard this?
They pulled it all.
They sent it out. Vin Diesel caught wind of it. He pulled it all back and said, no, that can't happen. I cannot. And it's because Vin, I think, felt threatened by The Rock. By that idea of like, The Rock can't be top dog. I'm top dog. So The Rock went ahead and was like, I'm going to go do my own franchise with Statham. And I'm here to say... They delivered. Though the major portion of this movie, the lines that I was laughing at were meant to be funny.
Yeah, they were jokes.
They
landed.
And there was a lot of things that were very self-aware. Like the humor was like they were aware of how kind of ridiculous of these characters they are, but they weren't delivering these lines like they were serious. It was really just funny, and then the action
was great.
The action in these, since Fast and Furious,
there's a couple. There's a couple action sequences in this one that might be my favorites in these movies.
In these movies, I don't know.
The chase scene through London.
Yeah, when the Rock grabs the guy from the motorcycle and just hangs on to him.
But them going through under the cars, in and out through traffic.
I leaned to you midway through the movie, and I was like, Idris Elba's motorcycle is awesome. Yeah. I love this idea that it's like he can whistle and it'll come to him, and he can like manipulate it so it can like stretch out or it can get like really low. And that, yes, where they go underneath the truck and he's following and he's able to maneuver. That whole chase sequence is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and would you say that one was better than when they're in Moscow?
No, those two were both great. That was what I was getting ready to lead it into.
Okay.
The one in Moscow when they're breaking out of.
It's the Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
The Mick Jagger plan. When they're breaking out of the Aeon. Aeon is the company that Idris Elba's like working for, and they're basically trying to, I guess, it's typical villain type shit.
Take over the world.
Just take over the world, and.
There's not too much thinking in this movie.
No, well, I know, and that's why, because when you were telling me, you're like
world control. Their plot is the same as Thanos's, which is like
this. I brought
and same as
Magneto.
It's the idea that they can better.
I'm afraid that this plot device, which is something I actually really loved, especially with Thanos, I thought that was really really cool. But I'm afraid this is going to get overdone. The whole idea of like we need to sacrifice like at least half the population. So
We
that
still don't know what
better.
exactly the plan was. We know that this virus was going to be released, but they kept saying that there were going to be
There were
strong.
There were superior people, but it was like, are these superior people don't have like a specific? Does it target like a specific?
Well, we don't know.
There's
going to be more.
According to okay. Well, let's start here. Another main reason I believe this movie truly does work really well is that Idris Elba is the villain, and it's not like he's like the best villain of all time, but it helps when
you have a villain that's a good actor,
a great actor as the villain, and Idris Elba does a great job. He's good.
Yeah.
And so when you watch, instead of
the worse you hate the villain, the more you're gonna like your protagonist.
Well, not only that, Idris Elba, it's strangely, his character is somewhat well written in the sense that he was somewhat of a good guy, but then he kind of turned, and then he has like a personal vendetta against Statham.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that there where it's personal for him to go after Statham. And then on top of that,
this movie's fantastic.
You enjoyed it much, much more than I did.
I walked out of this movie last night and I was like,
you had the reaction I did with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
And I loved Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I watched this and I was like,
you wanted
let's
to see
fucking
it.
do that
You wanted to see it immediately.
Let's do that again.
I was like,
I felt like, and it's not like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you watch it like, this is a good movie. This is Hobbs and Shaw. Wow. You walked out and you're like, you know how you ride a roller coaster and you want to ride it?
That's true. Well, and
it's like that.
Hobbs and Shaw is mindless.
Yeah.
You truly, it's a movie, you just shut off your mind and you're like, I'm about to see The Rock and Statham's back. Well, they kick ass, but their back and forth is great.
There's a plane scene, which, no spoilers, we're not going to give anything away, but there's a plane scene where they're going back and forth on a plane and they're having... Actually, that whole bit, when they decide they're going to go to Moscow, from literally them changing characters to getting on the plane.
Where Statham has set up, because there's a certain point where the bad guys have now they control the media.
Mm-hmm. And so they're wanted men.
So now The Rock, Statham, and Vanessa Kirby. Vanessa Kirby's great, by the way.
And her action sequences are pretty cool too. Like the way
she's cool. I mean, she's cool.
She's MI6. Like
she's very capable individual, and she's like a strong female character in this movie. And
she's also very pretty.
Yeah, I mean that helps. But she's awesome. But they're now all like wanted for like a terrorist attack type thing, and Statham makes plane tickets for them using like different identities, and he makes The Rock's Mike Oxmall, that when you say it out loud, it's Mike Oxmall. And this is the heart of this movie. It's about like, it's very similar to how Dom or Vin is looking at himself. Like, I have to be top dog. And in this movie, it's very testosterone driven, where it's like, I'm the best. Yeah. I know what I'm doing. And then, of course, the other character, whether it's Statham or The Rock's like, no. I know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I'm the best.
And it's a whole movie of that.
Yeah, until that. Well,
the last third of this movie does.
I wouldn't say it felt. This is how I describe it to you.
It turns into a Fast and the Furious movie.
Yes, the first 2/3 of this movie.
It's its own thing.
It's kind of its own thing. It's funny in the parts that it's meaning to be funny. The action sequences are great. It is over the top, but I mean, what do you expect with Jason Statham and The Rock? Mm-hmm. The last third of this movie becomes...
I actually like the fact that they went to Samoa. I had no issue with that.
Well, see, I didn't have looking at it, I don't have an issue with it. It was a bit of a change of a movie. It's like you said, it's The Rock going back to Samoa. It becomes about family. It becomes, there's more cars involved. Like, it's a Fast and Furious movie. Where the first 2/3 is like...
just an action movie.
It's an action espionage type movie that is funny, entertaining, and actually
you're also introduced, like I said, there's going to be sequels, but you're introduced to some people that might be brought on as family.
There are 2 cameos in this movie that I'm surprised. I cannot believe that that Universal was able to hold back on not revealing that these 2 people were in it, because there's one character that's not even a cameo. He appears a couple times throughout the movie, and then there's one. Well, I guess they both do. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, these are A-list people. I mean, these are people that they are setting up. Hobbs and Shaw are setting up their own family.
Yeah.
Kyle,
you know what's happening.
You had this theory, and I was like, this is exactly what's happening. Mm-hmm. Continue.
The families are going to have to face off.
They're facing off. See, I think this...
The Rock's a showman.
He's from WWE, and what does WWE do a lot? They like change the narrative of certain characters where it's maybe they're heroic, but all of a sudden they'll turn and become a villain, but then they'll turn back and become heroic again. I think this Vin and Rock feud, I think this is like a plan.
Oh yeah.
And what they're now trying to do, it's Vin Diesel saw Captain America Civil War and was like, we're doing that with Fast and Furious. It's exactly what's happened. Because what Hobbs and Shaw has done in this movie, they've effectively started to create their own family. Vin already has his family. They're going to go toe-to-toe. But then, because the villain in Hobbs and Shaw...
There's a lot, too. You've got Hobbs' family runs their own car shop, which is exclusively Chevy. They've got Dom, who's his crew, his family, is exclusively Dodge.
I didn't know that.
You didn't, underneath all the Hobbs, it had Chevy underneath it.
I noticed the Chevy. I didn't know Toretto only did Dodge.
He does all the commercials. He's on the Charger and the Hellcat and all that stuff. And then you sit there, it's a marketing, it's marketing genius. Because now you're going to have Chevy and Dodge going off each other in commercials.
We've stumbled across this conspiracy. I like the road we're going down, but I'm afraid we're about to go down this crazy rabbit hole.
There's so much in this movie, though. Let's go back to the movie.
No, we won't go down the rabbit hole. But that's my point, is that I think, and because of the villain in Hobbs and Shaw, it's a big villain. It's someone that's controlling the world, basically. I could see it where Hobbs and Shaw are going to go toe-to-toe, and then they're going to realize, much like Civil War, there's something grander at stake, and they're going to join forces. It's setting up for something very special. Very special. I loved it. So the Samoa... I leaned to you halfway through the movie when they were in Moscow. And there was so much action in this movie. I mean, so much. They're in Moscow, and I turned to you, I was like, they haven't even gotten to Samoa yet. And I was like, holy shit. This is incredible. Samoa does feel like a Fast and Furious movie, but there's some wildly entertaining scenes in that. There's they're doing the haka dance, and they're, going toe to toe with...
My biggest complaint about this movie, no joke, was how time was handled.
Oh, yes, I forgot.
It was horrible.
When we were in the movie... Okay, first of all, when the battle starts, you said it was bordering on morning time. I'm sorry, it's not. It's dark outside.
No, it is, but I took it as it was 6 a.m., and I took it that way, because they talking, they mentioned something about it being morning.
But as the fight's
Long story short, there's a 20-minute action sequence, and Vanessa Kirby's being timed because her
the virus that's supposed to eliminate the majority of the population. She has system because it's dormant.
Yeah, but they're filtering out her blood, and it's going to take 30 minutes, and there's a timer on it.
That timer would have been long past, and
not only is there an action sequence, then there's a chase.
There's a beginning of a chase, and you realize it's only been 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that doesn't fly because it's broad daylight.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock has changed outfits
3 times.
Mid fight. That shit bugged me. As the fight begins, he's wearing what appears to be a towel.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see any pants, didn't see anything. You just see a towel.
Well, no, you don't see anything, but he takes it. It's not a towel. It's a, what is it called?
I don't know Samoan. I don't know what it's called.
I'm sorry, you don't know that.
But he removes it,
and he's got shorts on.
And next, not like scene. Next cut, it shows him running. He's wearing pants, no shirt on, pants. He hops onto a truck, which is again next clip. I mean, literally 2 seconds. He's now wearing a shirt, pants, and shoes, and you're like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
I was like, the continuity there was like, God, what is happening? And then something I did like about this, during that chase scene, because Hobbs has their own garage,
yeah,
the introduction to Hobbs' family is awesome, because it's just so testosterone driven. Everything is like, there was a feud and there's history there, but that was cool. But he has his own garage, so all these cars have NOS in them. Mm-hmm. And it was cool to see them hit that NOS button again and see. Also, and it's the old school where it shows it going through the car and it
hit the moonshine.
Yes, that's exactly what happens. God, this movie's awesome. It's so fun.
It's so entertaining. There is a slight love story between Vanessa Kirby and The Rock, which is kind of weird because The Rock's old enough to be her dad.
Yes. Yeah, that's how I would.
There's also, we don't know that there's not really a love story, but Statham's.
It's not a story. There's just love going on.
Yes,
Statham. Oh, and she's in
it for a little
I don't know
bit
how
too.
to pronounce her name, but I think it's Isa Gonzalez. She's
from Baby Driver.
She's from Baby Driver. I
loved her in Baby Driver.
And she's in this for 5 seconds or
5 minutes.
5 minutes maybe. She appears to be great, but she apparently has had a fling with Statham, and they make out with each other in front of The Rock and Vanessa Kirby. Vanessa Kirby is Statham's sister, so Vanessa Kirby's like, what the fuck? Like, what is? But she's gonna be a part of the team too.
Yeah.
I mean, they are, and honestly, right now, I'm Team Hobbs. The team that they've crafted is I think miles away better than Toretto's team. But Toretto, Vin Diesel he's not going to let this fly. He's going to bring in top dogs too.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
It's going to be amazing.
I really hope what we think is going to happen is actually going to play out.
Oh, I'd love it.
Because I'm already looking forward to the thought of that possibly
Honestly,
happening.
if it's not, we need to go and knock on Universal's door and be like, you have a gym here. Yeah. You have something here that could be monumental.
Like, you remember, the Twilight movies, there was Team Edward and Team Jacob. Imagine that times 1,000,000.
Because you have Team Hobbs, you have Team Toretto.
Yeah.
What would you give this movie?
This is tough.
Because you said you couldn't really grade it. I would give this a B. I'd give this a B. I mean, it's exactly what you go into it thinking what it's going to be. And while
mine teeters on the B+, I'm in that range, but I loved it.
Where would you put a better question? Where would you put it in the context of the Fast and Furious franchise?
The only thing that rivals it is the 5th one.
Yeah, no, I would say that. I would say that for sure. The 5th one was where they nailed that formula, and even though there were things that were cheesy, I remember watching it for the first time thinking, this is going to just be another terrible kind of, not terrible, but just Fast and Furious movie. And I walked away thinking, that was awesome. That was great. Very similar reaction
to
this.
The 5th one might actually, in terms of story, I can grade the 5th Fast and Furious. That to me
you can't grade this one.
Because it's so fun. There are some genuinely funny moments. There are some parts that it's meant to be comedic. And while I say because the rest of the Fast and Furious franchise, while that one to me is I watch it, I'm like, oh, that's a good movie. There are moments throughout the rest of the franchise where I'm like, these movies aren't very good, but they're wildly entertaining. it's tough because this one was, for 2/3 of the movie, I thought was a really good action movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was,
And then and the end ties in the whole. It feels Fast and Furious-esque.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll give it a B+. I'll put it right there with the 5th one.
Okay. I think I'm still sticking with a B because it's just wild. It's just wild. But
again, I enjoyed this so much. I have to give it a B+.
that's fair. That is fair. And I plan on seeing it again. This is a movie I would, if it's a rainy afternoon, I'm like, put it on.
Yeah.
Let's watch it. So, we saw it in IMAX.
Go see it in IMAX.
Go see it in IMAX. It's big. It's loud. It's catered for IMAX. We also saw the Christopher Nolan's new movie. The trailer for it. That was all. That got me jazzed. I was like, I'm really ready for Hobbs and Shaw now. But if you can, go see it in IMAX so you can see that trailer, so you can see Hobbs and Shaw as it's meant to be seen. I'd recommend it. Yeah, go see it.
Go see Hobbs and Shaw.
If you like Fast and Furious, you'll definitely love this.
This is a summer blockbuster at the max.
At its peak. This is exactly what a summer blockbuster is. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
We'll catch you next time.
OurTake. See ya.